Bring the hot girls come to party, cause we love see them move and shake them body out. Bring them hot girls come to party, cause the student guide love it. Yo, hey yo, it's a student pocket guide. You know it's Sean Party Girls, them overall locking it down right here, letting them know we got the flow. Dirty.
Firstly, thank you for your time. Ronnie was just saying that this is like the first interview back in the swing of things. So huge
Yeah,
privilege. Thank you.
yeah, first ball, first ball.
Yes. So I just wanted to get a quick glimpse into the beginning of music for you. And just, it's probably a
Mhm,
question you've been asked many times, but just for our readers and viewers, would you mind just
mhm.
briefly explaining like how you got into music in the very beginning?
You know, just being someone who loves music in general, you know, that's kind of it for me. Simple, but you know, in Jamaica we have a big culture of amazing music, different kind of genres that came up through the years. And then when dancehall hit, I was probably 10 years old, or when it became just more popular and the hit music in Jamaica. I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and just blew me away. You know, it spoke to me how my friends spoke to me. You know, it wasn't the English language, so to speak, or um it wasn't fully patois either. It was kind of both. And so it just hooked me. And at 15 years old, I started to think that maybe I'd be a producer. You know, saw a popular producer on the television out here telling people how, you know, he produces with like studio equipment now and not a band, and not in that traditional way anymore. And then probably 17 years old, I start writing rhymes, and I'm like, I like this even better. And you know, I stayed until about 24 years old. We're just trying to, you know, own my own craft. And then kind of had a friend that was in the business. He went to school with me. He was a table tennis champion, and I was a swimming champion. And I slowly started to follow him to certain studios and whatnot. His name is Don Youth. Um, you know, so from high school, I was kind of getting into it, and then kind of when I left high school, I definitely dove into it more. So it was a gradual process, and just me being a fan at first, and then thinking, "Yo, I could do this." You know what I mean?
And the rest is history. Hey, I mean, fast forward to today, like 27 years in the
Yeah.
music industry at the top of your game. I mean, how do you keep motivated and keep coming up with fresh ideas for that seriously long period of time? I mean, you're a champion in it. How do you keep it up?
There's a lot of beautiful ladies that like to dance to my music, sir, and that does keep me inspired. It does. But yeah, other than that, you know, it's just self-expression. It's just like, you know, I think those first 6 years of me kind of developing my style and my craft, without anybody knowing, kind of helped propel me, you know, to give me a hard work ethic, so to speak. Yeah, so I think that you know, I do owe it to the fans and people who see that I try to put my all into the music, and you know, make it stay to the root, but also a little different and push the edges and those type of things. I think people, my fans, really appreciate that from me.
Well, they no doubt do. I mean, your latest track, Summer Hot, I was looking at some of the comments on the YouTube video. Two really short but standout comments for me was one was Boss is back. And the other was just one word, unstoppable.
Oh
Um,
wow.
brilliant comment. How do you feel? Do you feel unstoppable? And I also wanted to ask about the video to that track.
Well,
It looked like a lot of fun filming.
yeah, yeah, it was a fun day. I don't get to spend those fun days much more now so often. So that was a cool day. Um, but yeah, do I feel unstoppable? No, I just feel to not stop. so that's the thing. Like you know, for me it's a joy. And when you do what you like for a living, whether it is you know, very little pay, which sometimes it is for me. In terms of other artists who are having a stature of name that I do in the business. sometimes it's, I do free things just to keep in the game, and that's probably another reason for longevity. In Jamaica back in the day, it was, if you didn't do dub plates, which is more just free songs for different DJs, and I would do those free. If you didn't do those, your song wouldn't be played as much, and it wasn't you wouldn't be as popular. And so I kind of take that work ethic into now. There's artists now that holler at me, and if I really have a great respect for them, or the producer, or even just like the project that much, I sometimes waiver the fee. So it's like, those things kind of help, to keep me in that respect, but yeah, I don't want to stop. So the fulfillment is really, seeing, for me in the studio, that's the first fulfillment, when you actually have a song. Right now I have several songs that I just did this week, and I'm like, yo, this is awesome. So it keeps me going, makes me feel good, and so for that reason, yeah, maybe I'm unstoppable that way.
Cool. And what was it like working with Skillibeng and Busta Rhymes on the remix?
Awesome, bro. The whole vibe of the track for me is that it blends the older school dancehall with new, and I think I'm the bridge in both cases. I got a lot of people in dancehall said the '90s was the golden era. That's where most of the songs and rhythms come from that we as Jamaicans love. Um, and so I got a little piece of that. I started putting on music in '96, '97, and then I kind of took the 2000s by storm, and then now there's younger cats coming up. So with this track, Busta was a few years before me in terms of coming out with music, and then I came on the scene, and then Skillibeng. So it just made sense to me to bridge the gap, and to match the rhythm, how it sounded. It sounded like the root, like the old school dancehall, but it sounded brand new as well, and it made sense to me. So big up to Skilly, the young veteran coming up, and big up to Busta Rhymes, someone who I've always looked up to in the business, and still doing his thing like 30 odd years later. So salute to the both of those giants on the track with me, man.
Amazing. And then in terms of collaborations, like, do you find it brings out more creativity out of you as an artist? Like, and how do you sort of get the best out of your ability in the music industry?
It definitely does, bro. Because it sparks that creative competition, which I think dancehall needs. I thrive off of it. There's a lot of beef in dancehall, and people go at each other, like as in lyrically. Over the years, that's happened, and for me, it's not about that. It's just like when I hear something very dope, I appreciate it that much that I try to match it. And so collabs kind of give me a different perspective to think of songs also. When Clean Bandit said to me, just give me 8 bars on this thing, I actually gave them 16 when they cut some up. but when they said that to me, I listened to the song, and I was like, wow, that's a different concept I've never thought of before. So like I owe that to them in terms of just the concept of where we went, and me being from a single parent home. My father went to prison. My mom struggled with 2 kids and 2 companies, trying to juggle them. Lost one and lost the other. So like the companies, not the kids. But yeah, it was really easy for me to write, but I didn't think of it before. I've done a mama song before where I praised her, and it's like, to me, it's my mama's day song. It's called Straight from the Heart, and I spoke of my love for her, but this was a different perspective, and that only happened through doing the collab, and that happens with each time I go to do a new production with some other producer or some other artists, whether they be huge or small. I listen to their um you know what was it concept, and then it basically sparks my creative competition. So it's helped develop my repertoire, I guess, as a musician.
Amazing. I was looking at the numbers. Obviously, they're enormous, enormous numbers. 31.7 million monthly Spotify listeners. And that works out to 733 people listening to your music every minute. Um,
Wow.
I just wondered have you ever thought about it like that? And how does it make you feel knowing that that
No,
number of people might be dancing right now to Sean Paul music?
that's awesome, bro. I just saw, was it I don't know if it was on a tweet or Instagram, or maybe it was a DM. Somebody sent me a DM yesterday and said, I was just walking on Brooklyn Bridge today, and everybody I pass is rocking Sean Paul, different songs. I'm like, what?
Wow, that is
So
brilliant.
that feels awesome. It's funny nowadays because, like, yes, streaming and these type of things. My children, they're in the car and they're like, "Mom, Dad, play that song again." And you're like, "Oh, it wasn't me, it was the radio." And he didn't understand the concept of radio. He was like, "What? So you mean Dad's in the radio?" And they're like, "Nah, you know." She had to tell him a DJ is playing it, and he's 6. So what he knows is Spotify. He's like, "Play that again. It's on your phone." And I'm like, "Wow." So to be high in those type of numbers right now at this point in my career, as you said, 27 years later, it's a blessing, man. I thank those 700 and whatever people every minute. I thank you all. That's amazing.
And then sticking on numbers for a moment, 1.2 billion streams for your song with Dua Lipa,
Yo,
and a billion views on YouTube. I think that is the other way around. Sorry, 1.2 billion on YouTube and a billion streams on Spotify with a track with Dua Lipa, No Lie.
wow.
What would you say is why do you think that song is extra special?
I was just gonna say to you, that's because it's a beautiful woman and she got a beautiful voice. I was blessed enough to be able to work with her when she was not that huge in the business, but I listen to people's voice and definitely, of course, the image too. But I mean, her voice is amazing to me, and I think that song was lukewarm at first, and then because it was released in 2017, and just started to build up, and then during the pandemic, it got a more wide exposure, especially when she blew up, and so I owe that a lot to her. Maybe if I put somebody else on a song, people would have loved it as well because it's a dope melody and I'm on it doing my thing. But she really helped to bring it over the top. And so sometimes with collabs, that kind of helps. The right person, the right time, the right rhythm. It's all like a juggling act. And sometimes, for every one song you might hear from me, I've produced or sung about 10 of them in the studio, and 9 of them is not going to be as big as that one that you hear. So, it's, as I said, like a juggling act for me or a trial and error type thing. And I tried with her, and she blew it up. You know what I mean?
How big is your music catalog of maybe unreleased tracks that you've created?
Man, my manager said to me the other day that he has a YouTube list of collabs that I've done, collabs alone. And that's 108 songs, he said. And I was like, whoa. And a video guy, when he told it, that a young videographer was shooting some stuff for us the other day. And he said, how much videos? And he told him that. And he was like, wow, he's done more collab videos than I've ever done any videos. Um, it's been a long time, man. It's been a lot of great stuff, you know what I mean? uh I have a very unique tone of voice, and so or like people can recognize it very easily. So a lot of people who like me on their collabs, just to get that ear recognition, I guess, quickly. So yeah, that's kind of helped over the time period.
What would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned in the music industry?
Do it for the love. For me, a lot of people say music business and they praise me for being a good businessman, and I'm always like, just yesterday somebody shook my hand and was like, bro, you took music to the business. I'm like, I didn't really have a conscious mind to do that. What I really, where it started for me before the shows and before, our type of Instagram stuff, it was about having good material. So at least I could, get a smile out of somebody or a bow, 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 that's dope. So that was it for me. And I always wanted to have that reaction. And so a lot of times when I put out songs, maybe I don't get that initial reaction and I go back to the drawing board and do another song. And people actually love the song. They maybe didn't give me the reaction, but so that kind of helps me to keep grinding in studios.
And what about advice for aspiring musicians that want to sort of kickstart a career or get into music?
Um, I would say go all for it. I mean, a lot of young artists, some with great talent, amazing talent, some with not. And I like to tell people it's 99% hard work in this business. Um, you could have 1% talent, and if you work hard at it, you could get noticed. You could get a song that people enjoy. I mean, Baby Shark is not very um, a great composition in terms of a mastermind piece of work, but everybody knows it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, keep at your work. I mean, as I said before, do it from your heart. Do it because you have that self expression you want to send out there. Not so much for the business side. The business side will come, and you need to be knowledgeable about what you need to do with the stuff when you have it. But for me, it all starts. The baseline is a good song, good music. So work on those things. Work on what you want to say to your audience. Be true to that, and good luck. Yeah.
Do you think, in your opinion, that you're born with a gift?
I think we're all born with different gifts, and it's how you, is how you kind of mix and match different versions of what you have. I mean, I'm good at certain things. I'm very bad at other things, but I just try to, emulate those things that I'm good at, and I work on the bad things as well. But you know, it's a what you call another juggling act in that respect. For people to say that, oh, that person is the most talented person on earth. That's arguable because I know people that sing in their bathtub that I wish I'm like, yo, I hear you in there. I wish you would come to the studio, and they're just like, nah, it's not for them. So um, it's a thing, man. I mean, I definitely feel blessed and feel that, yeah, I have a talent, but again, it comes back to that 99% hard work. If you don't work on the talent, if you don't keep your voice in check, if you're an athlete, if you don't work out, you're probably gonna pull a muscle in, something like that. So it doesn't matter to me much about, you're very talented in that. I think we're all talented in different areas, and it's how you pull those resources to present your product or your song or your just your whole persona to people that really is it really draws people in.
And what about the technology side of things? Obviously, you've had a really long and highly successful career, and technology throughout the years has changed incredibly. How have you had to adapt throughout your career on the basis of technology changing?
These almost 30 years ago, there's no Instagram, there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was no, MySpace, TikTok. There was radio and there was TV, and for a musician, MTV or a program like that would be a very great outlet. How we recorded was different too. It was on 24 reel tracks, the original way. And then digital started to come in, and then you could, do so much more things with tracks, and that was awesome and amazing. You had a lot more tracks available to you, so it's like being a painter and getting more colors and a bigger palette. Then it's like, wow, that's it adds to your artwork. But also it's been like crazy. Like this morning, I had to update my Zoom. I had to call somebody to help me out. Be like, yo, my Zoom is not working. So how do you do this? And things like that. I'm not really a full You know, I like technology for sure, but I'm not a full geek on it. Like I don't know everything. So it's kind of like frustrating in some parts. Like, you know, this is just in the palm of my hand to be able to do, but I don't know how to fully do it. So it takes time. You know, it's been a two-sided sword. Like sometimes I'm able to, you know, conquer the beast with it, but then also I might cut myself a few times. You know, so I love technology, as I said. Um, what I like to try to remind people is that we've done this all already excellently before without this stuff. So you know, I try to tell my kids kind of like technology is awesome, but this is the real root of the way, and let them at least appreciate that if they don't, you know. I see everybody like nowadays. When I first started to drive a car, I was stick shift, right? And there's still people who drive stick shift vehicles now. Um, but you know, more than two generations of kids only know to press gas and press brakes and steer the car. Like they don't know this whole action and the changing gears. So with technology, that's bound to happen. There's things that like pencils and pens in school almost sometimes are going away. You know what I mean? In terms of people always on the laptops and iPads and whatever. So I like to still have some form of, especially with my kids as well, some form of showing them how it used to be done, just for the appreciation part alone. You know, yeah.
And what about artificial intelligence? I mean, specifically someone such as yourself, you've got such a unique voice. You know, how
Mm-hmm.
do you think AI is going to affect the music industry? What do you think the future holds for creative industries with artificial intelligence?
It's really crazy. About 2012, I saw, yeah, a hologram. Sorry,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
hologram. So she's a hologram, and she could sing in any key, and she could sing anything that they put any music behind it. And she actually had a following of people that come to the show and they wave when she says wave, and she's actually 15 feet tall. So you could see her from way back. And I was amazed at that. I was like, wow, this is gonna change the business. And it's taken 12 years. I've not really seen much more of it done. I saw a Tupac hologram in some big concert in America, and there's been a couple others. Snoop Dogg did it and whatnot. And the technology is getting better and better. Um, but again, you know, is it for to be a human being? Um, you know, we like to walk in the grass sometimes and get our feet dirty. You know, it you know, so yeah, we've developed shoes and they're sneaks and they're all great, but sometimes we like to do that. So is it going to take over fully? It definitely has helped me in terms of, I've just done two videos that I didn't really love the outcome of them. I didn't think they were exciting enough, and we used AI to put things and do all kind of stuff, and it looks much more awesome now. So yeah, it again, I will utilize what it is, but will it could take over everything? Like will it come to the point where I want to go and see a hologram of my favorite artist? Maybe if they're no longer here. But you know, when I'm a human being and I like to walk in the grass without without my shoes on sometimes. I just like that. So yeah, I think there's others like me, and I think that while that's available to us, we'll still be doing some of them more traditional walking in the grass.
I love the perspective and the way you know compare things. It's brilliant.
Thank you, man.
What about your future plans? Sort of, have you got any exciting plans you can share with us for fans, maybe going into 2024, collaborations, releases, and so on?
Yeah, I've been working on a bag of stuff. You know, I'm hoping to drop an album sometime next year. It might be in the summer. Um, you know, even though these aren't album driven times, I still like try to work towards an album. I think that you know, an album kind of encapsulates that time period whenever you started to work on it, and you know, whenever it was released, and whatever happens after that, it encapsulates that time. And so yeah, I'm working on stuff like that. I just released a song with Manuel Turizo, which is huge. This remix with me and Busta Rhymes and Skillibeng is what I'm promoting as well. And just looking forward to touring next year. I have a tour coming up in November in where is this in Canada. After that, I think early in the year we're looking to come back to UK and Europe and do that. So what can I say? A couple Afrobeat songs coming out. Um I'm on a couple remixes and stuff, so people could listen out for that. And yeah, so the dancehall world, the reggaeton world, and the Afrobeat world is such familiar music to me, and people holler at me all the time. So look out for stuff in those three amazing genres of music from me. Hey yo, it's a student pocket guide. You know it's Sean Party Girls, I'm overall locking it down right here, letting them know we got the flow. Dante.